Welcome back to it, the Now Morning Show, your Tuesday edition, where I told you we are talking single and cultivated, cultivated and married. What does it mean? Where are we going with this? Well, you want to join the conversation to find out. And to do that, I'm joined by Shannon Shawnice-Dotton, the Managing Director for what is a community that is talking about the topic, and of course, Madonna Davis, the Marketing Officer. So ladies, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good morning. We thank you very much for having us this morning. We are delighted.
Well, I'm excited to have the conversation because while I may have been able to go through a bit of a preamble, if you will, and get some insight,
Yes.
I know we're looking forward to culminating with an event. But first off, single and cultivated, cultivated and married community.
Yes.
What is it?
So single and cultivated, cultivated and married is a community that we are about to launch in Trinidad and Tobago that started in the United States of America, in Los Angeles to be particular, right? So this community came about as a reasoning that a lot of persons came to me, particularly, while they were going through certain circumstances within marriage, within relationships, even those that are single and, hopefully waiting to be married one day. And I asked myself, why is this attraction so much upon me? And I ignored it at first, but thereafter I said, you know what, there is something here that I need to start and be birthed because it's too much. So then, while I was there in the United States for the time being, I coincidentally came into contact with persons who are psychologists, persons who are counselors, and the conversation started with respect to how persons go through things in relationships, marriage, and also in my job spec as well. I see a lot of situations where family life and custody of children, etc., of that nature takes place. So that really had a special place for me. So single and cultivated is split into two departments. Single persons who are of three categories, that being single as never married, whether you're engaged, whether you are single by way of divorce, or you are now a widowed person. Persons don't really split those aspects of singleness into categories, not thinking that persons who are now widowed are now single again, persons who are divorced are now single again, So we started in the United States and we are about to present this community to Trinidad and Tobago together with counselors, persons who are here that actually see the vision of what we are trying to cultivate and really get on board to help people heal from situations.
Okay. Now, of course, a lot of this, what you're describing here, is derived from your experience as a divorce lawyer as well. But in terms of the three categories that you're splitting the persons into,
Yes.
Cultivated, why are we using this particular term? Because it has a lot of meaning.
It does. So when you think of the aspect of cultivation, it would think of the work that has been done in an individual life over the period of time, whether they were single and they actually took time out to do that self-searching of who am I? What is my self-identity? And what do I present, not just to be in a marriage or in a relationship, but what do I present to the world? What do I present as purpose upon the earth? So in the individuality of finding that person, you tend to now say, this is what I bring as my individual personality to a marriage or to a relationship with someone.
That all spoken, what you bring to the table conversation.
Exactly, exactly so.
I'm glad you talked about doing the work for it because, I mean, as marketing officer, Madonna, you would have definitely have some work to do, particularly because we're looking at moving from American culture, if you will, into Trinbagonian culture. There may have been some challenges, there may have been some significant differences that we cannot ignore. So tell me a little bit as to what the actual event will look like and perhaps what we hope to come out of that.
Well, regarding the marketing part of it and the cohesion between the US and Trinidad, I believe it goes hand in hand somewhat. They call us Little America. And a lot of the terminology, even what they bring into the table, back in the day, that wasn't something of what we would have heard of. But now it's like what you bring into the table and your self-identity, who you are and what you're doing. And so therefore, at the event, we want to accomplish where persons would understand who they are and become empowered into being the best that they can be. Also with regards to single persons who are single parents, there are a lot of challenges, but I personally believe it takes a village to raise a child. And coming into that community, we can help each other. Also, we're having those that were divorced and got remarried, and then the differences of what you're going to do differently now that you're in a new relationship. So those kinds of things would help us all together build the identity of self and become better at who we are.
Build the identity of self, build the community that needs the village that is necessary to raise those children. I'm getting it.
Yes, yes.
Of course, in terms of the challenges that single parents face, you definitely touched on that one. But some of the information might be necessary to persons, regardless of their marital status.
Yes.
Persons who voluntarily want to be single still need to know who they are and what they bring to the table. So is this something that every and anyone can access?
Actually, yes. Because of the fact that we know that there are persons who actually have no desire to be within a family setting, and they are quite contented, with the life that they live. What we do have on par, and it is a surprise because it's actually included in the program of what we would be offering after the day of the launch. But it is an investment in persons becoming the best version of themselves on the inner man. At times we spend a lot of time basically on the outside, which is important, and we would be actually dealing with that aspect as well of persons, of how you present yourself in certain spaces, because there are persons that we would have, and actually companies that we would have partnered with that would also help us along with that outside identity of persons who struggle with that self-esteem. So the persons who are contented in their singleness, just for the fact of wanting to be your individual self, that self-identification, that purpose in which you were born, that is the drive that actually gets single and cultivated going to be able to bring persons to their best self. I always believe that everyone is unique, and the purpose in which they bring forth is also unique. But because of persons as well lack their self-esteem to actually get to that point, we are now here to help persons in that nature to bring it forward.
Sounds good. Now, when we talk about the program, this comes after the launch. Tell me about the launch, date, time, and how can we be a part of it?
Right. So it will be held at Little Carib Theatre on June the 30th. That is Sunday coming. It is carded to begin at 3:30 p.m. for the Trinidad and Tobago persons.
And that's actual time. It's 3:30 p.m. sharp. The Carib does not need you.
So we would be kicking off at 3:30 p.m. at Little Carib Theatre. And it is proven to be a fun evening. We have plays in store for persons who would actually depict. So it would have people that are in the audience that may not have that comfortability just yet to tell their story. But as they see the play, they would be able to say, you know what? This is something that I am going through. But within themselves. So now with the panel discussions that we would have with persons who actually have gone through certain circumstances, and they will be sharing in that safe space, we would also be providing online links, private links for those who cannot make it to the theater. But it will also be a safe space for persons to share, and persons who are in the audience to glean from it, to know, hear what, this sounds like something I really want to become a part of, to actually help me, right?
I see Madonna emphatically nodding when she talks about hearing the things and seeing the plays. So that means we are definitely wanting to get those tickets in advance. Apart from Little Carib Theatre, are there any other locations we can get them at?
You can get them actually with Madonna, where she is at, where she works.
Madonna?
Giving my number.
Yes, I will give her
my number.
Yes.
How do we get those tickets?
Okay, well, I can give a number, 376 Right, 3760080. They can call and we would be sure to get the tickets to them. And I think you all should really try to attend. A lot of persons will identify, especially with the skits. It's a bit of humor, but yet still inside not much persons are extroverts and will talk out about their story. So this would help you identify internally, and then you'd realize, hey, I got to get on board with this.
Well, we're going to get on board the 30th of June at the Little Carib Theatre as these two ladies, among with others, are ready to build that community that you need to be your best self. Ladies, I say thank you very much for joining us this morning on the Now Morning Show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us.
And now you guys know what single and cultivated and married community means. But for now, we take a break and come back with more on the Now Morning Show. Stick around, guys.